Hi there, and welcome to this week's vlog. Got twin themes to chat about for a few minutes today: perseverance and goals or aims. Perseverance, and I had lots of evidence of that last weekend when my son-in-law Matt rode from coast to coast here in the UK, starting off in the Lake District and ending up in North Yorkshire in the town of Whitby. And if any of you, if you know the geography of that particular stretch from west to east, you'll know that there are lots of hills, especially Lake District and in the North York Moors. And it was a really tough experience for Matt. He just got out cycling with friends, but it probably wasn't quite prepared for the physical exertion and the mental exertion, really, psychologically, to keep going, to press on. I think it was about 15 hours from start to finish. Set off early in the morning, got there mid-evening, and I'm full of admiration for Matt for persevering, because it would have been easy for him to give up, to say, "I just can't go any further." But he persevered, he pressed on, and he did it along with others who were part of that event. So well done, Matt. In fact, when Matt did that, it reminded me that back in the 1980s, yes, that long ago, I did a similar journey from west coast to east coast, but not on a bike, walking. The famous coast-to-coast walk, established really by a gentleman called Alfred Wainwright. He's the guidebook to that walk. It's a great little book, well worth reading, even if you don't do the walk. But I guess many people have done that over the years. But as I've said, that involves quite a lot of hills and the Lake District particularly. And there was some bad weather, some torrential rain on our journey. I went walk with my brother-in-law Keith, and it was tough at times. I got a big blister on one occasion. Keith was then a quicker walker than me, so there were times when he was off ahead somewhere and I was plodding on behind. Especially, I found it tough going up those hills in the Lake District. And to be perfectly frank, if when I was really struggling, a taxi had drawn up beside me and said, "Do you want a lift home?" I would probably have given in to the temptation and quit. But I persevered, I pressed on, I finished eventually. I think we took about 10 days to do it all. It was, when I finished, I thought, well, I'm glad I did that, but it was tough. I had to practice and put into practice perseverance, press on, don't give up. And it's interesting. That really leads me on to my second theme. I think I talked about perseverance a few weeks ago, and the Christian life is all about perseverance, isn't it? Press on. There are times when it's going to be tough, but press on. Just keep on trusting in Jesus. Now, this is Alfred Wainwright's guidebook, and an interesting introduction he writes. And in the introduction, he says this: one should always have a definite objective in a walk as in a life. It is so much more satisfying to reach a target by personal effort than to wander aimlessly. An objective is an ambition, and life without ambition is, well, aimless wandering. So Wainwright is really saying it's really important in life to have goals, to have aims, things we can look to. When Matt was doing that ride, he had a goal to finish the race. Well, it's not a race, to finish the ride. He had a destination, as I did when I walked that path. Again, let me go back to something I mentioned a few weeks ago, that I was doing this program called Couch to 5K, 9-week program to get people who are really not all that fit, perhaps not used to running, over a 9-week period, to get them so they're fairly comfortable running for 5K or about half an hour. And today was the day when I finished that program. So I'm quite happy. But it was, again, a program with a goal. The end goal was to get to the point where your body can be comfortable, or reasonably so, with you running for half an hour or for a 5k distance. And I'm so happy that I managed to achieve that. But when we set off, I knew that was the goal. And let me read to you a very well-known verse from the Bible, from the prophecy of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, where God says this: "I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Isn't that great to know that God, the creator of everything, God has a plan and a purpose for your life and for mine. That's God gives us those goals, those aims, that purpose. And when we discover what God's plan for us is in life, it doesn't necessarily make life easy, but it gives us that incentive to press on, to keep going. And so that's really such a blessing to know that God has a plan and a purpose for our lives. And it gives us that goal. So as Wainwright says, it avoids that we just aimlessly wander with our lives. So there's something to encourage you. Discover God's goal, God's plan for your life, and press on to accomplish it in his strength. Now, the final thing to say today is tomorrow I'm beginning a challenge to walk, to take 1 million steps during the months of July, August and September. So that's a 3-month period, 1 million steps. And it's to raise money for the important work of Diabetes UK. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes last year, and that's meant I've changed my diet and I'm getting that under control, and I lost quite a bit of weight, but I wanted to do something, to put something back, to give some support for Diabetes UK. They do research into diabetes. They offer support, help and encouragement to people who have diabetes. So it's a really great charity. I'm going to try and remember to put the link to the donation page underneath this video on YouTube. So if you want to donate, there's the link. You don't have to please don't feel obliged, but if you want to sponsor my next 3 months of taking those 1 million steps, then that would be wonderful. But most of all, discover what is God's plan for your life. What are the goals he's setting for you? And may you walk in that way. Follow Jesus. Know his strength and his blessing. Thank you so much for listening today.